Hello everyone, my name is Hecthor Doomhammer and it's been a while since I've last said that. How have you been doing? And I'm gonna start out with giving you, at home, watching this video, an assignment. I want you to write in the comment section the top 3 positive things that happened to you in the past 3 years. I'm gonna give you examples. You have a different job that works out way better in terms of pay, in terms of making you happy. Or did you get a permanent contract somewhere? Did you conclude your studies? Did you start new studies? Or made great strides in your studies? Did you manage to scrape things off your bucket list? Or how about relationships? You start new relationships, meet new friends. Did you sadly had to tear down some relationships only to become a better person yourself? Or did you repair old relationships? And what other awesome steps have you taken in your life to improve your life? I myself am going to be talking about all of the positive things that happened to me in the past 3 years, because honestly it's been a wild ride. A lot of positive things have happened to me. So with that, I'm going to try and be as positive as possible in this vlog. The negative topics will eventually lead into positive developments, and so I will be discussing them. And lastly, we will not be discussing the last 2 vlogs, my retirement videos, ever again. Except for the fact that I think that I just needed to take a little long vacation to really focus all my energy and all my time on myself, on improving myself. And I think I'm doing a good job for that. And you may see a little white dot over here. We're going to talk about it later. So naturally, COVID happened. And I know I said I wouldn't be talking much about negative stuff, but COVID happened and I had to switch jobs twice. First time, the company that I worked for delivers mammograms to the hospitals. Those are devices that can detect breast cancer. And with COVID happening, all of the appointments of the breast cancer research were postponed indefinitely until, well, nowadays again. So the devices weren't being used, they weren't in need of maintenance, they weren't in need of replacing, and so the amount of work just dropped off the face of the earth. And being still a temp agency worker there, I was the first to be let go. My second job that I had to switch, it was only a half-year contract from the company itself, but I hated working there pretty much from month 2 on. And I decided that even if they were to increase my pay and offer me another contract, I simply wouldn't do it because I wasn't happy there. However, I ended up working at a company called Bondmeyer. It has 48 stores around the Netherlands. I work in Hoorn, despite the fact not living in Hoorn. A lot of customers, when they ask me like, where are you from then, if you're not from around here, like, yeah, I'm from Alkmaar. Why don't you work at Bondmeyer Alkmaar? I said, well, they needed people here. Now I'm here. I started off as a temp agency worker there. And after just over half a year, I got a full-year contract. And after that full-year contract, we're going to talk about that later. Another awesome thing that happened to me is that for the first time since 2019, I was able to return to Sweden in 2022. And I decided that this was going to be the trip to scrape off a few things off my bucket list. With the main thing being, I went as far north as I could by car. I literally reached what was once considered the end of the earth. The North Cape. For a part of the trip to the North Cape and a little bit past the North Cape going back down, my best friend joined me.
Zo, ik ben hier ergens in Noorwegen onderweg naar Alta. What's the name of this place, sir? Noordgilsbotn. Oké. Kennelijk ergens daar, die kant op, ligt Tromsø. En ja, weet je, het is echt gewoon waar wat ze zeggen. Het maakt niet uit waar ter wereld je bent, je komt altijd wel Nederlanders tegen. Maar wie had ooit gedacht dat ik hier deze mafkees tegenkom?
Hallo!
Voor degenen die hem niet kennen, dit is mijn allerbeste kameraad. We zijn al 32 jaar kameraden. Wat de fuck doe jij hier?
Ja, gewoon een beetje rondkijken.
Nou, rondkijken. En ik ben onderweg naar de Noordkaap. Heb je wat te doen?
Nee.
Zijn we mee te gaan naar de Noordkaap?
Ja, leuk.
Oké, we gaan naar de Noordkaap. Met z'n tweeën.
But the majority of the nearly 8,000 kilometers in 3 weeks' time, I did all by myself. I drove through the Netherlands, obviously I lived there, Denmark, Germany, Sweden, first time ever in Norway, because of course the North Cape is in Norway. And also on the way back I had to travel a little bit through Finland, which was also the first time I went to Finland. And even though I was only a mere 50 kilometers away from the Russian border, given on what's going on, even back then in 2022, I decided against going there. So Russia is still not on the I have visited that place list. Not that I think I ever want to. Amongst other things that I did in my trip on the way to the North Cape before my friend joined, I went to the Ice Hotel. Even though it is the summer, they have a bunker there that is cold year round, and there are like about a dozen rooms, I'm willing to say, that are kept permanently cold, and you can stay there during the summer. I didn't because, well, it's very expensive. So I'm going to save up money and celebrate my 40th birthday, which is this upcoming February, in the Ice Hotel. For a proper Ice Hotel experience. I'll talk about that in probably a later vlog. Once my friends joined, we went to this really awesome place, a husky lodge. So this is a place where they breed and train huskies for dog sledding. And while we were there, after we arrived there, my friend wanted to go for a dip in the river, but I said, hey, we're close to the Arctic Ocean. Let's go take a dip in the Arctic Ocean. And once we arrived at the place where we were going to take a dip, as we already had changed into our swimming trunks, I just looked around. I saw absolutely nobody. My friend wanted to film it, and I was like, you're not going to film this. Because there's one more thing that I really want to experience. And since I'm here, since there's no one else around, I didn't even finish my sentence. I didn't even give my friend a chance to respond because I was already in the water, but my swimming trunks were not. They were still on the shore. Yes, I went skinny dipping in the fucking Arctic Ocean. It was this cold. Nah, it wasn't super cold, but because it was summer. But you know, I never expected to be skinny dipping in the Arctic Ocean. And my friend later joined me. Was like, "Who the heck are you? This is not the Paul that I know." But after he composed himself from being like super amazed, he was just like, "Okay, if we're gonna do it like that, we're gonna do it like that." So he jumped in as well, butt naked. We took a dip, did a bit of swimming, and then we went back to the husky lodge where we cuddled with puppies. 6 weeks old puppies, actually. And after we had reached the North Cape, on the same day we had to drive back. We stayed in a small Russian settlement of Repvak. It's still in Norway, but it was settled by Russians. We met up with a group of bikers. You know, bikers being bikers, they just meet random people that are also bikers on the road on the way, and they just hang out, and they asked us to join them for some fish, for some beer, and it was all in all a good time, good experience. After that, we visited Karasjok, which is the Sami cultural and political capital of the Sami people. It's also been on the bucket list for me, so that was another thing I could scrape off. We visited the parliament, but it was closed. We did visit a proper Sami museum, and we saw the oldest still existing Sami shamanic drum there is. It's about 400 years old. But we weren't allowed to take pictures because it made great. So we were respectful and didn't take any pictures. So that's another thing I was able to scrape off my list. Once we were in Finland, we also took a dip in the river border, or the border river, if you will, between Finland and Sweden. I took a picture where I was in Sweden, he was in Finland. And after that we went to Rovaniemi, which apparently is where Lordi is from. We had a drink in what used to be their main bar, the rock bar. At least we were told this. Of course, I can't verify if it's true or not, and I'm not going to do the research in it. But it was really fun. Quite expensive beer, but nice. Also, for the first time, I went to the sauna. Fun fact, the sauna was only usable in between certain times. But at the time that we went to the sauna, it was still on. For some reason, it was still warm. It was still working. So we went off hours for about an hour. My friend was really surprised that I lasted that long, since I definitely can't stand any heat whatsoever. But I managed to pull through. And that was another thing scraped off the bucket list. After that, I dropped him off at the airport the next day. And as I crossed the border from Finland back into Sweden, a thought occurred to me. I remembered that on the Wednesday before I left for my vacation, a random truck driver that I unloaded at my work told me, like, hey, if you're gonna be in Sweden around that time, you should definitely visit Falun Rockstad. And as I was crossing the border from Finland back into Sweden, that thought occurred to me. I was like, oh yeah, that festival. So I went to Luleå and I had some coffee there to really look into what this festival was, because I really didn't give it much thought beforehand. And I didn't give it any thought at all during the trip with my friend. So as I was looking into it, I saw who was going to be playing there. I saw that it was now rebranded into Sabaton Open Air. And as I was looking at, like, am I capable of doing this time-wise? Am I capable of doing this money-wise? I do have my tent with me. I do have a sleeping bag with me. I do have an air mattress with me. I didn't bring a pillow, so that was the only thing that I was lacking. I thought, well, when in Rome. My original plan was to stick around Hecthor for a few days and explore the place properly, because if you may remember, in 2019 when I was there for Midsummer, I had to drive back right after Midsummer, 2200 kilometers, because I had to attend a cremation on Tuesday, while the Midsummer thing itself was on Friday, so I had to do a lot of driving in a very little amount of time. But this time I had plenty of time. But I still decided against Hecthor, because that festival, I just wanted to go there. Seeing all of these bands, some of them didn't even perform because they chose apparently Wacken Open Air, which happened around the same time, over Sabaton Open Air. But still, I saw a bunch of great bands and I met a bunch of great people. And I'm just very, very glad that I went there. If you look at this picture, this was my tent after I built it up. And after having a couple of beers later that day, I was looking at the picture of my tent. I was just like, it's just like a mouth screaming. Ah! And since then, I just can't get that thought out of my head every time I see this picture. So, having met a bunch of really awesome people, seeing a bunch of awesome bands, I decided that I needed to learn proper Swedish. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. After Sabaton Open Air, I went to Stockholm, because Stockholm is pretty much a must for me nowadays. If I ever go to Sweden, I have to pass through Stockholm, because I have to do this Gumlust and Ghost Walk, and I have to do the iFood. I have to eat there, and it was great. they're a mandatory thing for me. And after that, I visited my uncle and aunt in Mondstadt, and on the way back to the Netherlands, I also stopped at the Roskilde Viking Ship Museum. I sailed a bit on the Viking ship, and it was awesome. And sadly, that was the end of the vacation. So going back to the trip with my friends, this photo was taken on the Norway-Finnish border. Nothing special about this picture, but 5 seconds later, as we were walking back to my car, I checked my phone to see that I received a message from my boss. Hey Paul, hope you're enjoying your vacation. Once you get back, there's a permanent contract waiting for you. I have been a temp agency worker for 20 years. This is my first ever permanent contract. So that made the vacation just that much better. And we definitely had a beer to celebrate that, me and my best friend. But beyond that, as I said, I felt such warmth and welcome back at Sabaton Open Air that it made me realize something. I need to learn proper Swedish. I did a 12-lesson mini course with my uncle and aunt back in 2013, I believe. 13. And I did try to do a online course through the NCOE, which is the Dutch Online Schooling Institute. But I do remember that one where I had 4 weeks of homework done, and then I received an email from my teacher saying that I needed to record audio. Now, of course, by then I already had this, and I already had the OBS, and I already had knowledge of stuff, but I wanted to know what format the teacher wanted to have it in. So I was like, okay, what kind of software do I use? What kind of format do you want to have it in? What do you suggest? What do other students use? The answer was, go figure it out for yourself. So I reiterated, I have no idea on how to do this. So could you explain some stuff to me? The answer was once again, go figure it out for yourself. So that's why I dropped out of that course after 4 weeks, because my teacher was anything but helpful. However, having remembered that after I got back from Scandinavia, I started to look into the Volksuniversiteit, which is an institute here in the Netherlands that allows you to take courses in classrooms. And not just language courses, but also other kinds of courses. But luckily in my hometown of Alkmaar, there is a course Swedish. This is the book that I used for the first year. But my first year wasn't the first year. When I went to the open day, basically just an introduction on like what courses are available, do you want to sign up, etc. I talked to the teachers there, the Swedish teachers, and I talked a little bit of Swedish, saying that I already had some experience because I went to Sweden several times before. And then they started to converse amongst themselves in Swedish. And the two words that I understood, andra år, meaning second year. So I stopped their conversation. I was like, are you guys really talking about me having to start the second year? And they confessed. They said that they were afraid that because I was already this serious with the whole wanting to do Swedish, that if I were to start in the first year, which was literally just your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s and some very basic stuff, that I would find it absolutely boring and that I would quit halfway through. And they saw that I was so serious that they just didn't want me to quit. So they said, we're going to challenge you. Start in the second year. if you fail, if you feel that you can't keep up, of course you can just go back into the first year. But we urge you to start the second year, do the first year stuff on your own, because once you start the second year, you'll understand where you'll start in the book, Mol Et, and then you can do the rest on your own. And so I accepted their challenge, because I'm just that awesome. And I passed the second year, and so starting October 3rd, I'm going to be using that book to start the third year. And that will also be used for the fourth year, and after the fourth year I am done. And I intend to actually migrate to Sweden by the time I'm done with this. Because I have a pretty solid plan on how to approach things in the coming years when it comes to me moving to Sweden permanently. But that is a multi-year process. And the first step has been taken, starting to learn proper Swedish, so that I'll have a little bit of an advance when I actually move there. So that's what I meant with, have you taken any steps to improve your own life on a larger scale? So yeah, that is also a thing that happened to me. Something I forgot to add is that alongside the classes, I also recently started doing a daily thing of, give me a second, this, Duolingo. I'm recording this purely for myself. Because I was afraid that if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to motivate myself to do this. So I am currently on a day 135 streak. So 135 consecutive days of doing this. And originally, I did one of those ticks every single day. Like this one takes 5 lessons. And I would do all 5 lessons in a single day. But around day 90, I realized that I was getting burnt out because I just couldn't process everything. So I gave myself an ultimatum. I'm gonna reach day 100 going on like this, and then from day 100 on, I'm just gonna do 1 lesson per day. And this way, I've realized already it's been 35 days since I started doing that, but it's way more manageable, time-wise, and also remembering-wise. It's much better this way. So yes, I do record this, but I do it for myself. There we go. And now it's finally time to talk about this little ball of fluff next to me. I've been living on myself in this apartment for 14 years. I've always lived alone, no pets. I've always wanted to have a cat. Because yes, it's a cat. It's a cat. However, especially with the whole depth story that I have, starting 2013, 2015, 2017, I realized that I needed to prioritize getting a permanent contract anywhere. Which of course I now have, thanks to, when I learned about it on the border of Norway, Finland. Because I didn't want to have to choose between taking care of myself or taking care of my pet. And I know that I could have taken a rat or a bird or something small that doesn't eat much, that doesn't require that much attention, but I just love cats. I'm a cat person. Look at her. Look at her. She's adorable. Pixie. Yes, her name is Pixie. I took this cat over from a stranger, for me at least. She was in the process of moving. She had a nearly 1-year-old child. And the cat and the child just didn't mix. While she had the cat before the child, the cat wasn't getting the attention she deserved. She requested, she required, because all the attention went to the cat, to the child, and so she put her up for adoption. because she was also moving. And it was just about what I was looking for. She's now 7 years old. I was actually hoping for a cat that was older, but I settled for this indoor cat. I wanted to have a playful cat, but she was advertised as not being playful, which was a terrible lie, luckily, because she's playful as heck. Hey, cat. She's playful as heck. And she loves attention. And every morning now, when I wake up, she's going to be at the door meowing. Whenever I come home from work, or wherever I come from, she'll be at the door meowing if she understands that I'm home. She will move onto the couch and start laying down on her side like she's right now. Just like demanding attention. Just continuously meowing and demanding attention and purring, and it's just wonderful. Sadly, she is not a lap cat. I hope that during the winter she will become a lap cat, because of course I'll be nice and warm and she'll be a little cold. And she'll be seeking the warmth of my lap. And if not, then oh well. I have a cat laying next to me after 40 years of living alone. So, there are some circumstances that happened on why I decided to go for a cat. Now, of course, the permanent contract is one thing, but also after having experienced Sabaton Open Air last year and realizing how awesome it was, even though my body was destroyed, I wanted to surprise the people I met there, because I promised them that I would return. I wanted to surprise them with the fact that I was suddenly speaking Swedish as well, a little bit. So that's also one of the reasons that I decided to go on the Swedish course. But sadly, despite the fact that I had requested the 3 weeks off for vacation this summer, this year, Sabaton Open Air announced that Sabaton Open Air this year would not be happening sometime in January. So suddenly I was with 3 weeks of vacation already approved without having to go anywhere, because I was gonna plan my entire vacation around Sabaton Open Air. Then I would have like a week to get to Sabaton Open Air, have Sabaton Open Air, and then like have 1.5, 2 weeks left to travel and go back to the Netherlands. So with 3 weeks of vacation having approved, but suddenly not really having a reason to go to Sweden, I decided to go look for a cat and take the 3 weeks of a staycation in order to let the cat get used to her new surroundings. And it worked like a charm, because she is really well adapted to me. And she knows me, she loves me. In the weekends, I'll actually let her sleep in my bedroom. Normally, during the week, I'll have the bedroom door closed, but in the weekends, I have it opened. And she can crawl into my bed, which she does. Beyond that, another thing that involves my best friend. For about 10 years, he has lived in Spain, in Madrid. I went to visit him in 2019, I believe. Yeah, no, 2021 even. Yeah, because I was supposed to visit him in 2020, but of course, COVID happened. So I went to visit him in 2021 for his birthday in November, where I learned a new hobby, accidentally, like this. So this particular axe was advertised as a two-hander, but of course the Spanish people, they're like short compared to us Dutch giants. So I was trying to work with two hands behind the back, but I hit the ceiling. Was like, yeah, if I continue doing that, I'm gonna destroy this place. That's not gonna work. But I really wanted to throw that two-hander. And so I tried a couple of different things until I finally landed on this. And the owners of the place were like, holy shit. And that was awesome. But yeah, my best friend, going back to my best friend, he finally moved back to the Netherlands in pursuit of a different career. And while he was in Spain, he really got hooked on Dungeons and Dragons. And he tried to drag me a couple times, but I was like, yeah, no. But finally, I was like, fine. It's gonna be a single session thing. He gave me a character. I'm a human variant barbarian with a gladiator background. So he basically created a character sheet for me and a little bit of backstory, and he gave me the freedom to create the rest of the backstory, which I did. And a lot of them are like, well, this one time back in the arena, kind of like in American Pie, like this one time at band camp. I sadly can't get that out of my head anymore, but it works with a lot of stuff when it comes to like reasons on why I do certain things. And we're now level 4 in I'm basically playing this character in 3 different campaigns. One campaign is on hold where we are level 3. That was the first time we went into level 3 because we started at level 2. We went into level 3, and for those that know a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons and the Barbarians, I chose the Path of the Beast. Specifically Wolf. And the second campaign is a one-on-one campaign. It's basically a 2-player campaign where my friend is the DM, but also a character. And this takes place sometime after the original campaign. And the third campaign, I was only supposed to be a standing character because someone was gonna make it, but later. But we had to start the session, so that it was like, yeah, you can play this character for a bit. I was like, yeah, but if he arrives, then I'm kind of useless. Then what purpose do I serve? It's like, well, we can put Maximus in. Yes, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, just like the gladiator from the movie Gladiator. That's why I chose that name. And now we're level 4. And that's currently the only other active campaign. So the one-on-one campaign and the campaign that I joined later in the session, those are the 2 active campaigns. I'm really, really hoping that the first campaign will resume at some point. One person is missing in action, but we're probably gonna replace him. Maybe that means that we'll have to restart the entire campaign, but I kind of hope not. I kind of do, because now that I know some things, I can kind of cheese it. But I honestly just hope that the campaign itself continues. That we'll resume where we left off with a new character just suddenly joining in. But yeah, I'm kind of hooked on it, but I'm really hooked on the character that was given to me. So I've been actively playing Dungeons and Dragons for a little bit, and I have a cat. So now let's talk about my return. Rise of the Reds has resumed the development of 1.9 for a bit now. For those that follow Maelstrom, my French rival, you will have known this, and I've been lurking in the shadows for a bit ever since. Eventually I decided to step forward, and a lot of people were like, oh, you're back, are you gonna go streaming again, I was like, no, I'm not. I stand by my decision to, I've retired, and like, we're done. Despite that, me and especially Bruce, but also some other people, talk things out behind the scenes to a respectful manner. You know, we're respectful to each other. And then came the announcement from the community of the community event regarding the 20th anniversary of 0 Hour. And I thought to myself, what a perfect time to return. Because things started to itch again. It's like, I kind of want to return. So after talking to the organizers of the community event, they pointed me to Maelstrom, saying that Rise of the Reds is up first. Maelstrom is going to stream. I was like, hey Maelstrom, what time are you going to be streaming? What are you going to be streaming? I was like, well, I'm kind of want to return. And everyone was happy, like, yeah, he's returning. So we decided that Maelstrom would focus mostly on the internal beta, and I would focus later in the day on the public hunt patch. And we have the first stream already done. We're not going to talk about the second stream that I did earlier this weekend. But honestly, the welcome that I received, the welcome back, was very warm, humbling, and I feel that, well, with the development going on, I can return. So here I am, promising nothing but inconsistency, because the rules still apply. When it comes to Rise of the Reds and Contra, send in replays. If there are no replays being sent in to me, there's no content being recorded. If there's no content being recorded, there's no content to be uploaded to YouTube. There's no content for you to watch. However, in the back of my mind, I'm also toying around with the idea of bringing certain older things back from the dead as well, except the other game stuff. So what I've decided is that the Hecthor Doomhammer YouTube channel is purely going to be Command & Conquer related stuff, and I will not be uploading any other gaming stuff other than Command & Conquer stuff. The older videos on YouTube from the other games will remain. The YouTube thing will remain as it is. But the last thing about YouTube is that I will no longer be streaming there. I know that I will have to start off from scratch, but I have re-established the Hecthor Doomhammer Twitch channel. I'll leave a link to that in the movie description. And I want to go back to Twitch for one very specific reason. I missed the song requests. While talking behind the scenes to the developers and the testers of 1.9, I was given a song and I listened to it, and it just reminded me of the song request because it was something from a different country, different language, and I was like, I've missed this. How much I've missed discovering new kinds of music for me through which I used to do through the song request video, the streams. And I was like, if I continue on YouTube, then I won't be able to do the song request because YouTube is not going to like that. Hey, cat. Hey. Hey. Look at her. This is cute, cuddly. I've been giving her lots of attention today. I was out for most of yesterday, but today I'm giving her lots of attention. But go back. YouTube doesn't like song request streams, I think, so I'm not going to chance it. So I am bringing back the Hecthor Doomhammer streaming channel on Twitch. Link in the movie description. In terms of what I will stream when it comes to Rise of the Reds, will I do internal streams and replays, just like Maelstrom is doing? I'll have to talk about that with the developers, with the testers. But that'll happen at a later point, so because it's not really a priority of mine to talk about that right now. But if you want more Rise of the Reds stuff on the internal stuff, then go to Maelstrom's channel. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel in the movie description as well. But when it comes to me, for now I'm just going to do public stuff. I'll look into reviving some older stuff as well. But it will be inconsistent because streaming and creating content on YouTube is still not a priority of mine. Especially since on Tuesday, October 3rd, the third year of my Swedish lessons will start. So Tuesday is already off limits for me. Sunday evening I have got sports doing. I started some sports that I will discuss at a later point in time. And I honestly think that Dungeons & Dragons is a little more important than streaming. So if I have a Friday evening available or a Saturday evening or during the day available, I might stream. And otherwise I won't. Sundays are definitely off limits. Tuesdays are off limits. Wednesdays are off limits as well, because then I intend to do my homework. Just so that I have done it, because I've been terrible with doing homework last year. And when it comes to anything else, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I just wanted to say that I am back. Rise of the Reds videos will resume. Replays, send them in, please, 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 send them in. I don't care if you are a noob, if you are a pro, if you're somewhere in between. Send replays in, I'll cast them. And we're gonna have lots of fun, hopefully. Of course, I hope to see you on my Twitch channel, link in the movie description. But for now, I'm gonna be closing it off here. I'm Hecthor Doomhammer. This is my cat Pixie. We thank you for watching, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.